Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to Thursday night Insta Live. We are talking away the taboo. I am Dr. Aimee Baron, and this is a really special live. We're on our third out of three lives that we've been promoting all week long, specifically these Mother's Day conversations. And tonight we have Taliya Corbett, who I'm going to be bringing on right now. She struggles to parent all of them and wants to share her story about her daughter Ora, but also she has children here who here she is,
Hi.
and how she has children here who she very much needs to mother in their own way. And so I'm really very excited about this conversation tonight. Um, okay, so Talia, introduce yourself for the people who don't know you. Give us a little bit about your background, where you live. You are a convert, so you
I
did not grow
am.
up Jewish. So just
No.
like give us a little bit about your background and sort of take us to the point of conversion. Take us through that. Take us through finding your husband. Give us like a window into the early
Wow,
parts.
you want it all tonight. Okay.
Look, we're here, we're doing it all, come on.
You guys are in for a real treat. So I'm Talia. Hi. I'm 37. I have four beautiful, delicious boys, 10, 7, one that just turned 5, and terrible 2. And
Yes, yes.
we live in Boca, the famous Boca Raton. And I did not grow up Jewish. I'm actually Turkish, and I grew up in a Muslim household. And I did not know anything about Judaism until I actually met my husband,
Wow.
Ari. And I had met him when I was about 21. And you're going to love this. I met him in an airport in Costa Rica, and our flight was canceled.
Holy cow.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you need to share this whole story. You realize, okay, like need to share it.
So he was the guy in line in front of me, and there was one, it was like in the middle of nowhere, Costa Rica. There's one flight out a day. I lived in Long Island at the time. He lived in Miami, and we were on the same flight. And the flight was canceled due to thunderstorms. So he turns around, the guy in line in front of me, and he goes, "Are you on this flight to Miami?" And I look at him and I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, they just announced that the flight's canceled." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I have to go to work tomorrow. What do you mean?" And he's like, "Yes, all flights are canceled. We're kind of stranded." And we that was it. And I felt bad for him because, like I said, the airport was in the middle of nowhere, and here I am now just talking to this nice guy because we have nothing else better
Right.
to do. And I felt bad leaving him. He was such a nice guy that I was with a girlfriend. I was traveling with a girlfriend. And when we got our rent a car back, I look over to my friend and I'm like, I feel bad leaving him. Look, he's got like a really nice smile. He looks harmless. Like, why don't we give him a ride back into town? It's the nice thing to do. Um,
Because meaning like just to like play the story forward, meaning that you weren't going to spend the night in the airport. You're like, let's go back into town, get a
Correct.
hotel, and then like we'll come
There's
back to
nothing
the
we could
airport the
do.
next day.
Right.
Okay.
There's nothing we could
Right.
do. We're stuck. You couldn't even sleep at the airport if you wanted to. It's in like this outdoor
Oh my
airport.
God.
So yeah, we gave him a ride back into town, and then I got to know him for a couple of hours. It was like a 45-minute drive back into town. And I felt comfortable enough where I was like, you know what, I'll pick you up in the morning and we'll try this again, which is what we did. And after we landed in Miami, he handed me his business card and we just kept talking, but it was very friendly. And about 6 months after that, I moved down to Florida to be with him.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait.
I mean,
But
when you
hold
know,
on.
you
You're
know.
you're like okay. I know that we are here to like we have an agenda. We have
Yeah,
things to talk about. However, you need to give a little bit more. Like you need to fill in some of those pieces. Like
I was smitten. Like I said, I lived in Long Island. He had just moved from Miami actually to East Boca at the time. And he just started becoming religious. My husband's Baal Shuva.
Okay.
And he pretty much introduced me to the world of
Wow.
Judaism that I
Wow.
never even knew existed. I had no idea. So once I started learning a little bit, I planned my trips to see him on
Wow.
Shabbos. I'd walk over to the East Boca Chabad, Rabbi knew. Him and his wife just really took us in. They knew we were dating, they knew my background,
Yep.
and I loved it. I really, I took it all in. I absorbed it all. And I said, you know what? I want to be Jewish. And he was like, okay, all right, let's talk to some rabbis about this.
Wow.
And yeah, I had converted right before my wedding.
Wow.
Took about 2 years.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We're gonna come back to that because I lots of things I want to ask you about in terms of, building your family and so on. So we're going to come back to that. Everybody, I know people want to know more, but remember, we have like we're not just asking Talia about her life story. We have a plan here tonight. We're
Correct.
on here. We're on. I was supposed to have a baby, and we're here to talk about your fertility journey. So give us a window. So you converted and you learned all about Judaism and learned about the like our pieces of our values, which I think are really universal values in many different cultures. I'm wondering, I'm guessing also it's similar in the Muslim
A
community, but
little
you're
bit. There are a lot of similarities.
yeah,
A lot actually. But yeah, Judaism is kind of in its own little world, and some people might view it as, whoa. I mean, I have a lot of family members that still are like, what's wrong with you? Like, why did you choose this? All the time. I mean, it
yeah,
is what it is. I mean, even friends are just kind of like, seriously, this is what you
yeah,
chose. Shomer Shabbat, keeping kosher,
yeah,
covering my hair,
yeah,
and it's a hard one to swallow
totally.
when a family member is now Jewish, and with everything kind of going on in the world right now, it's kind of divided.
Totally. Totally. But let me sort of pointedly ask you, when the two of you were talking and it was getting serious, was there ever a discussion about how many kids you wanted to have and kind of like in what order and how often, like what was the thought about, family building?
I knew I always wanted to be a mother. That I always knew. However, I didn't put much thought into it, and I never thought it would be difficult. Um, Both my husband and I were both only children, so we didn't really have a number in our heads. Now, a typical Jewish home has what, two, three, four, five. I mean, I've been into homes that had 10 children, 7 children, and I was like, oh gosh, that would never be us. And here I am now with number four, and Aura was number five. But we never actually had a number. It was just kind of like, let's just see what happens, and Hashem has a plan, and we'll just kind of roll with it, type of thing.
Yep.
We never really discussed it. My husband's also 8 years older than me. I got married, I was 27. So, we're a little bit older in the Jewish world, so to speak.
Yep.
So,
In the regular world, like let's just call
yeah,
it what it is. Like you
right,
weren't 20. So
correct.
yeah. Yeah.
My husband was a little late to the game. So we kind of just, right after the wedding, we kind of got very lucky with my first. Very lucky. I conceived right away. Then when I tried to conceive my second child, we dabbled with secondary infertility. I could not get pregnant. I tried everything. And I've had about 3 or 4 fertility doctors, very well known fertility doctors here in Boca, all tell me that I would need IVF in the future
Oh
in order to
God.
conceive.
Oh God.
Well, I'm here to tell you I did not need IVF to conceive.
Wow. Wow.
But it was a very hard time. It was really hard. All my friends were on to their second, to their third babies. I felt like I was in a rush,
Yeah.
like why are they getting pregnant? Why am I not getting pregnant? Our kids have to be in the same class. Like this is what we do. This is our friendship group. And
Yep.
it was really hard. It was. And then, you think about age gaps And that was starting to get to me, like the clock is ticking, let's go, let's go. And it was really difficult, but luckily I was able to conceive on my own with all my other pregnancies. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. So okay, so you said your kids are 10, 7, right?
Yes,
Then
5 and 2.
5 and 2. Okay. And then each time, I mean, thank God, healthy and 4 boys. 4
4
boys.
boys, thank God, healthy, all preterm. They all require NICU. My 7-year-old was 2 months early. He
Right.
was a little 3-pounder at birth. They don't quite know why they come early, but they come early. So all my pregnancies are very high risk, a lot of monitoring, and my water breaks and it's go time. So there's nothing really to do to stop the labor process.
I hear. Okay. So now talk to us about, so you had, your youngest boy, and the thought was, okay, like let's keep going. Let's like you like as you just said, like, you weren't thinking about 10, but you were thinking 4. Your family was not complete at 4.
My family was not complete, and I knew I desperately wanted a girl. Ever since I was a little girl, I don't have the best relationship with my mother, so I knew I was going to have a girl one day, and I was going to have the best relationship with her as possible. We'd be best friends and manicures and shopping and all that stuff, right? So I told my husband, look, I'm getting older. My pregnancies are very difficult. I don't enjoy them. Let's go for one more. And whether it was a boy or a girl, I would have been content at 5. And I thought it was a good number. And lo and behold, I conceived at 9 weeks. No, I'm sorry, 10 weeks. We found out that there was no heartbeat. I was devastated, absolutely devastated. I had a DNC. I was so heartbroken, really hit like rock bottom. Never had a miscarriage my entire life because, like, why would I? I had 4 healthy babies conceived when I wanted to conceive. And then right after my DNC, that next following cycle, I conceived Aura. So I got very lucky.
I mean, how you knew right away after you had that miscarriage, you're like, I you knew right away that you wanted to start trying again immediately, as opposed to like, it's like some people want to do that, and other people
Right.
need a little bit of a break.
No, I was like, so when can I go again? When do I get the okay? And like, I told my husband, we're doing this again because like my clock is ticking and like, let's
Yeah,
go. And I was very fortunate. I really was. I got very lucky again.
very lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky. Okay, so now tell us about your pregnancy with Ora.
So I got pregnant with Aura right away. We found out during Yeshiva week. We took a family vacation to Tennessee. And, the weeks would go by, and for whatever reason, I wasn't connecting to the pregnancy at all. I could not vibe with it. I couldn't connect with it. It had a lot to do with a miscarriage. And I'm very good friends with my family photographer. And I was discussing with her like a maternity photo shoot or gender reveal, something. And she's like, Talia, I really think if you did a gender reveal, I think it would kind of just change the narrative for you and kind of change it a lot, where you could start connecting with your baby. So I said, you know what? I think she's right. If I know if it's a boy, I could prepare for a boy. If it's a girl, I could prepare for a girl. Let's do this. So my husband's 44th birthday was coming up, and I wanted to do something special for him. So I had my midwife send over the results to my photographer, and she took care of everything. She got fire extinguishers with pink smoke in them. They're on my page. If anyone wants to go on my page and see, it was an epic photo shoot. I mean, I was bawling my eyes out, hysterical crying. The kids were cheering. People on the beach were cheering for us. It was magical, absolutely magical. And from that moment on, when I found out I was having a daughter, oh, forget it. I was done. It was game over for me. I was so excited. She was the missing puzzle piece to this family. And my husband and I knew moving forward that she was it. That was it. Our family's complete. This is it. A princess is coming. And this was the last pregnancy
I,
for me.
I that those pictures, by the way, first of all, the picture of the shoot is also your profile picture.
They're wonderful.
And I mean, I've seen those pictures and they're absolutely just stunning. Like they're
I mean, like
tremendous. They're so,
entire
so
beach was
beautiful.
in on it. Everybody was clapping and cheering, and it was the best day ever, and it's one of those core memories that I'll forever have. It was, I mean, thinking back, I'm just like, I don't think I could ever top that for my husband as a birthday gift.
You know what? May you have many, many, many more years until 120, and you will find other things and things that will be not better, but also as
Right,
wonderful as them.
right.
Also, okay, amazing. Now you're connecting to the pregnancy. It's your girl. It's your daughter. You're so excited. It's the final. Like you have 4 boys. You know this is going to be a girl. Take us through the next bit of the pregnancy.
So everything was great, and around, I believe it was 18 weeks or so, I started getting preeclampsia symptoms. My blood pressure would just like really rocket, and I really was feeling very sick. And they put me on medication. It wasn't working. They doubled the medication, and I felt awful, honestly. Then I started seeing a perinatalogist. They'd monitor me closely. And then in about 19 to 20 weeks, it was about 20 weeks, the perinatalogist said, the baby's kind of on the smaller side. Well, none of us was concerned because all my babies are tiny. They're all born 5 pounds, four
Yep.
pounds. So it wasn't really anything that was on the radar. So we're like, okay, let's take this on a week to week basis type of thing. I had one day I got admitted in the hospital. They did a 24-hour urine on me, a lot of monitoring, and it showed that my preeclampsia numbers were just like double than what they should be. And later on, speaking with my midwife, she had mentioned that I should have been admitted till delivery at that point,
Wow.
but for whatever reason, my perinatalogist just did not take it seriously enough. So she discharged me. And about 2, 3 weeks later, after that discharge, I was now being monitored twice a week. I
Mm.
went in on a Monday and I was getting a stress test. And one of the nurses in the office, she just kept like questioning the baby's position. She kept having me move around. She kept feeding me sugary snacks. She just wasn't happy with the baby's movement. This was on a Monday. And she would run everything by the doctor, and the doctor just dismissed it again. And there were women coming in and out with their stress test. And I was there 2 hours, 3 hours. So they had me come in again on a Wednesday. So I went in on a Wednesday. Again, I was hooked up for 2 hours. I'm texting my husband. I'm like, I don't understand. These women keep coming in and out, and I'm just still stuck here. And she comes in and she brings me a bag of non-kosher chocolates. She's like, you need to eat this. And I'm like, okay. Like I just,
Yep.
she's bringing lollipops, chocolate, orange juice, candy bars. I mean, you name it, things I would never eat. I'm eating them. She's having me turn on my left side. She's having me turn on my right side. Now, this is a nurse that was super concerned about the baby's movements or lack of. And again, the perinatalogist, she dismissed it because this was a Wednesday, and come Friday was a potential induction where they were going to take her out because she was measuring too small. But it
Meaning the baby that they had already scheduled on Friday that there was going to be an
correct.
induction.
So that induction was either going to be a Friday or a Saturday appointment. So she dismissed it. That was on a Wednesday. And I went home and I said, okay, I'll see you Friday. So I came home Wednesday night, tucked my 2-year-old into bed. I go to bed myself. That night when I went to bed, my baby was kicking. My baby was kicking. And the next morning I woke up and I was taking my blood pressure a couple times a day at this point. My blood pressure was through the roof. It was bad. And me not being a worrier, I just said, okay, I'll spend the day in bed, drink a lot of water, I'll rest. My nanny took my 2-year-old out of the house so I could stay in bed all day. And it never occurred to me to count kicks because, like, stillbirth is just not on my radar. Those things don't happen, right?
Yep.
I was just at the doctor yesterday, so I wasn't paying attention. When Aura passed, I don't know. Must have been during the night. Um, but I was so sick that I couldn't focus on the baby. I was just like, let me rest, let me get through the day. Tomorrow, I'm going back to the doctor. So I took a very long nap, a couple hours. I woke up from my nap. Again, I don't feel any movement at all whatsoever. So I said, all right, I don't think I've had coffee today. Let me go have some coffee. Then as the coffee's brewing, I'm chugging orange juice from the container. I ate a half a Snickers bar, which I would never eat, but I'm like, okay, let's get the sugar in, get this baby going. There's no movement. But again, in my head, I'm thinking she's sleepy, she's, just not responding. But like, it just never occurred to me that, hey, maybe she's passed. So then it was after dinner time. I look over to my husband. I'm like, something's not right. Something is just not right. I think I need to go to the hospital for monitoring. He's like, okay, go, because going to the hospital for monitoring was no big deal for us. I mean, we're so used to it. The nurses all know us by name. They welcome us with open arms. They take very good care of me. So I packed my overnight bag. I went to the hospital. And on my way to the hospital, just something shifted. Something was different in the air. Something was just different in my car. And I'm by myself. I took myself. Walking into that hospital, I just knew something horrible was about to happen. Whether it was something's Aura's hurt, I didn't necessarily think maybe she died. I thought maybe like she's in danger, or I don't even know. I knew something was off. Walking into that hospital, I was basically shaking, checking myself in
Oh God.
by myself. I
Yeah.
don't know why I did that. Yeah.
Um, what happened next?
So they bring me into a room and they are trying to hook me up to a monitor, and the nurse is struggling. So she calls in the charge nurse. So then the charge nurse is struggling. And at that point, I just knew. I was like, my baby died. And no one's saying anything. She's rushing to call ultrasound. Ultrasound comes down. I'm shaking at this point, and I'm silent. And the team's kind of working together, but I think they already knew what had happened. And it was the ultrasound tech that kind of gave it away. The way that her demeanor was, she did a horrible job at covering it. And then all of a sudden, everyone left the room. And there was another mother hooked up to a monitor with her baby and her baby's beating heart right across
Oh
me.
God.
They didn't even put me in a private room. Like, it was just horrendous.
Oh my God.
And then they left me in a room for 25 minutes all by myself to, I guess, call my midwife, but nobody's talking to me. They just left me there. So I texted my husband, I think the baby died. And he's like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, on it, everyone's acting very strange. And I think the baby died. And he's like, I don't understand. So then the nurse comes in and she's tiptoeing around me. And I'm like, is someone going to tell me what's going on? And she's just kind of like, So I got a little aggressive. I said, can someone tell me what the F is going on?
Yep.
And she looked at me and she goes, I'm sorry, Mama. And obviously I knew. Then moving forward. And then she gave me like this side fake hug. And then she left me in a room all by myself
I,
again.
I yeah, I'm just like, I'm so horrified by
Yeah.
this. Like, I,
Yeah. It was it was not great. But thank God my midwife sped over. I mean, she must have flew to the hospital. She came darting into the room and she kind of took control of the situation. She was phenomenal with me. Um, so she actually gave me the choice if I wanted to switch hospitals where I had all the labor and delivery nurses as friends or to stay at this hospital. And at that point, I was just kind of like, let's just get this over with.
right,
What are my
right.
options? And said, unfortunately, Talia, you have to deliver. And I was like, can you knock me out for it? And she was like, no, you need to deliver. So she told me what the process entailed, and she said, you need to call Ari. He needs to be here, and I'm gonna sit next to you while you wait. So she did not leave my
Wow.
side until my husband came.
That is absolutely incredible. That
Yeah,
is absolutely incredible.
she's good people. She's really great. She, really kept it together as best as she could. You could tell she was devastated for me. And she really took control of the situation and gave me my
And she was first and foremost, she was a person with feelings as opposed to a professional. And I think, like, I hear so many times in these scenarios just about how people, like, I mean, and I'm speaking as a physician myself, but that, everybody sort of puts on their medical mask, and that, like,
Oh no, she was
they
bawling her eyes out. When she came into the room, her eyes were red, tears streaming down her face. I mean, she was bawling her eyes out. It was like having a friend there. She was devastated. She knew how happy I was. So she got I wanted to be at the hospital of my choice, but at the same time, I couldn't fathom driving there
of course,
knowing that I had a dead baby
yeah,
inside me. It was one of those feelings where it's like, we need to do this now. Like,
yeah,
rip the band-aid off, let's go, do what you need to do. I can't stay pregnant any minute longer.
yeah. Yeah. Did you did you want an opportunity? Did you have an opportunity to see her, to hold her, to
So, so someone just asked if it was Courtney. Yes, it was Courtney McMillan at Boca Midwifery. She's phenomenal. I love her so much. So yes, I had options. My one thing that I requested from everyone, and I looked Courtney straight in the face and I said, as soon as that baby comes out, I don't want to see it right away. Like, don't plop the baby on my chest. Like, you know, how you see in the movies or however, like normally I give natural birth and they put the baby on my chest and it's all amazing and lovey-dovey. I said, please do not, I don't want to see the baby yet. I want to see the baby on my terms. And everyone respected that. But the delivery in itself was actually crazy. So they started the process, the ball was rolling. Now my husband got sick.
oh gosh.
He couldn't support me. And my doula was on vacation. And I can't call one of my friends right now and tell them this news. And it's now in the middle of the night. So I got to do this alone.
Oh
My
my
husband's
gosh.
on my brain. I'm like, I got this. I got this. I'll do it. I'll figure it out. The nurses were no help, honestly. I was having a panic attack because I don't know if anyone else that experienced grief has experienced this. Now it's like doomsday, right? So now I'm thinking, I'm going to die during childbirth.
Yeah, right.
I have
Right.
preeclampsia. I'm going to die. And then, the mother of my 4 children, I'm not going to be around anymore. I'm having panic attacks. And the nurse keeps coming in my room and she's telling me to calm down.
Oh, that's lovely, because that's always when you're having a panic attack. It's always when somebody tells you to calm down, you calm down. Like, we just listen. Like, that works.
Talia, you
No, it
need to
doesn't. I
calm
hope
down.
people can hear the sarcasm in my
And
pitches.
I'm looking at her and I said, excuse me? I'm like, why don't you just give me some value? Give me drugs. I want drug. I can't calm down. And she's like, you're making your blood pressure worse.
I'm horrified for you. Horrified.
Um, and
Horrified.
again, my husband is the most brilliant man. He's amazing. He's my best friend. But you have to understand, when I say like he wasn't supportive at that moment during labor, he was dealing with his own trauma at that moment. I
Yeah.
mean, he was on the couch, doubled over in pain with a migraine. My husband doesn't get migraines. So I just wanted
Yeah.
to clarify that for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He needed his own support system,
Yeah.
honestly, at that moment.
Yeah.
And I had nobody. I had nobody, not even a single nurse to come wipe down, the sweat beads off my head. It was just, it is what it was. I was like, okay, Hashem's playing games with me now. On top of everything else, you're throwing another one at me.
I'm so
And
sorry.
it was awful. It was really, really awful. And I asked, I normally don't, but I asked for an epidural. I didn't want to feel the pain,
Yeah.
so to speak. And the anesthesiologist, thank God, came. And I told him, knock me out. I don't want to feel anything. Get me numb. And it's the funniest thing when, I guess maybe it's my personality, but every person that came into that room, I felt the need to crack jokes and try to enlighten the mood, so to speak, which is very strange but that's just how I am. Because I couldn't stand the sad eyes in the room and the people feeling sorry for me and the awkwardness. It was very awkward with
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
Even the anesthesiologist at some point, like when he first came in, it was just so weird. It was so awkward. I had to like break the ice somehow. Um, so even then, I was just trying to uplift everybody else's mood instead of taking care of myself.
I yeah, I was just going to ask you about that. How did you?
Like I was so worried about everybody else but myself. Um, so again, it was in the middle of the night, early hours in the morning, and I felt this immense amount of pressure. Remember, now I'm paralyzed. I can't move an inch. But I felt that weight of something coming out of me. And I knew. I started screaming, Ari, 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 and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. And he comes running over to the side of bed. I'm like, I think she's coming. I think she's coming. I don't want to do this. Please. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't know what to do. Nobody was in the room. She came out
Oh,
under the covers while I was on my side.
oh God.
Utter silence in the complete
Oh
room.
God.
Yeah. And my husband's pressing the panic button,
Oh my
screaming for the
gosh.
nurse to come in.
Oh
I'm
my
just
gosh.
screaming at the top of my lungs. I mean, you would think that nurses would hear. And the world just kind of stood still
Oh,
until there was just a flood of people. And it just so happens, I guess, when I delivered, I think Courtney was just parking her car. And then all of a sudden, a team of people just swarm in. And one of the nurses, Erica, who I actually became friends with after this, she kind of swooped up Aura and left the room. And she took charge. She said, no, I got the baby, and took charge. And from then, all the nurses had to help clean me up.
oh, yeah. When can you I'm almost just like I almost don't know what to say because of everything that you went through with on top of like knowing that you had to deliver this baby that was not alive anymore. Um, I'm so sorry for all of it, and I'm hoping that all of the people that are hearing this now are able to listen to it in a way that they can hear pieces that if God forbid that it happens to them, that they know how to advocate for something
You
differently.
have to. You have to advocate for yourself because you know what? No one else is going to do it for you.
Yeah. 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 Um, I want to like I want to um s- s- not switch gears, but kind of like move you to the place of where like how did you come up with her name? What did you decide? Like, did you end up like holding her and being with her? Like how in terms of like mothering her, how was it in those moments after she came out, after, Erica scooped up the baby? What opportunity did you have, did you want to spend time with her?
So once I was all cleaned up. My best friend actually worked in the gastro unit in the hospital. She came down immediately. Courtney was in the room with me talking to me. And, the whole time, this is important, the whole time that I was in labor, I thought I killed my baby with my bad placenta. Why? Because of the preeclampsia diagnosis. So I thought I failed her. I thought she was small because of the preeclampsia. I didn't take care of myself. I ate all the bad food. I gained all that weight. That entire time I'm trying to take care of myself during labor and delivery. So Courtney comes into the room. She sits on the bed. She's rubbing my leg, and she goes, the cord was wrapped around her neck 3 times
Oh,
and once around her body. She
oh
didn't
my
have,
gosh.
yeah, she said it was not you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
So
gosh. I just say that one line again because you cut out for a second. She said to you, the cord was wrapped around 3 times around her
and,
neck
and
and
once
one
around her
around
body.
her body. And
Yeah,
then she said,
it's not you. It was not you. Your placenta was perfect, absolutely perfect, zero flaws.
wow, wow. So you knew at that point that it wasn't that you failed her
No,
as her mother.
correct.
You didn't do
It was
anything. This
not
was
a freak accident, a complete freak accident. And she said there are a lot of babies that are born with cords wrapped around their neck. This is very rare. And she had it wrapped around her neck 3 times. I mean, she didn't stand a chance.
yeah, yeah.
And it, she was telling me how beautiful she was, how she had the biggest feet she's ever seen on a preemie, and then right as we're talking, then Erica rolls in the baby and she's like, "Are you ready to meet her?" And instantly I was like, "Yes, yes, give me my baby." And it was a beautiful moment. My best friend was there, my husband's right behind me, and Erica gives her to me. And as I'm like looking into Aura and analyzing her, this nurse took out her own phone and took pictures of us meeting for the first time. She was very special, this nurse. She was really incredible. If it wasn't for her, I mean, she really changed everything around for me. If it wasn't for her, I honestly don't know how I would have ended up staying in that hospital. And my best friend was there, so she got to meet Aura. And she looks exactly like Isaac's twin, my second
Wow.
son. Exactly. Two preemies side by side, they look like identical twins. And that was
Wow.
the first thing out of my mouth was, "Oh my God, it's Isaac."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, that was it. I never gave her up after that until I had no choice. She was with me the entire time. Slept next to me, was in my bed, hugging. It was beautiful.
And tell me, when did you decide on her name?
So her name was not going to be Aura. Aura was a name that I had picked and put on the list. There was a name that my husband and I loved and picked. And when my husband was on the way to the hospital, I had mentioned, "You need to call Rabbi Goldberg. He's our Rebbe." And the rabbi, I guess, Rabbi Goldberg has also been very public with his stillborn son many, many years ago. So he was kind of the right person to talk to when this happened. He tried to help navigate my husband and the next steps. And he told my husband, if I could give you any piece of advice when naming her, it would be to not name her the name that she was going to be given at birth. Because if you were to ever have another daughter, you could use that name then. So my husband took that to heart because I would have just named her the name that we
Yeah.
had chosen because that was her name in my belly. Um, so he was sitting right next to me and he goes, "I really think her name should be Ora." And I was
Wow.
like, "I thought you didn't like that name." And he was like, "It just seems really fitting." And I was like, "Okay, Ora it is." And she doesn't
Wow.
have a middle name. She's just Ora. And it is very fitting because she was the light of the house. She was our light.
Ora, or in Hebrew, is for those of you who don't know, or in Hebrew is light.
Correct.
I um how did you how did you tell your other children? How did you
I couldn't do it. I didn't do it. My husband kind of had to do it. I was not in good shape. So he took charge with the kids. Even still to this day, I just have a very difficult time discussing it with them. So if they ever have questions, I kind of just direct it to Abba, go to Abba, and I don't know why. It's just, maybe it's because I'm such a mama bear that I try to protect them from getting their hearts broken. And this is a sensitive subject for them because they really, really wanted a girl. So for whatever reason, I can't have this discussion with them. I don't know why. Still to this day, I can't do it.
You know, there is no right way or wrong way to do this.
Correct. It's just, even her pictures, I don't share it with them. One day I will. I just find it very sacred for my husband and I. Some of my very close friends, they've seen pictures of her if they've asked. But I don't know. When it comes to her, I'm just very protective. I've had a couple of people ask me why I don't post her picture on social media. I don't know. I honestly don't have an answer. It's just, she's mine. I don't know. It's just, I'm very protective over her, and she's only for me. So, it's just my way of grieving, I guess. There's no, like you said, there's no right or wrong way, and this is just how I choose to do it.
And what do you know? How have all of you been since since Ora died? This happened in the summer,
This
right?
July, yes, July 20th. And as soon as it happened, I didn't want to show my face in the community. I didn't even know how to, I mean, everybody was waiting for her arrival. This was the talk of the town. So the community even threw me a baby sprinkle. I mean, everyone was waiting for this precious princess to arrive. Um, I could not fathom showing my face ever again. But I wasn't allowed to travel because of my blood pressure. And my midwife knew how badly I just could not stomach the thought of seeing people. I was like, I'm never going to be able to show my face again. And she was like, Talia, don't be ridiculous. I'm like, no, how am I ever going to talk to people again? Like, I'm going to be known as the woman that has a dead baby. No, I'm not doing this. So when I came home, my husband gave me the space that I needed. Um, and he essentially was just like, what do you want? What can I do for you? And I said, I have to get out of Boca. I don't want to be here. I mean, think about it. I have all of her stuff. Her crib was delivered. Now, I have to get out of here. And once word gets out that we lost our baby, forget it. Like the sympathy, the sad eyes, the phone calls, we have to leave. So I believe the midwife made me wait a week. And I think about a week later, I got the okay that I could fly, and we booked our tickets the day before, essentially, and we flew to, no, we went to Arizona, and then from Arizona, we went to Utah, and we were away for about 2.5 weeks.
With your children or without
Yes,
your children?
with the children. We all just up and left. And it was a wonderful vacation. I mean, my mindset was not great. I couldn't focus on me. Um, but everybody was happy, and there were a lot of happy moments. So I'm very grateful for that trip, even though it was very last minute and chaotic. I'm really happy that we were able to do that, and it was very helpful, I think.
And,
Um,
and helpful in what way? Helpful in what way?
Getting out of the house, that reminded me nonstop about Aura. Her stuff was everywhere. Things were still getting delivered in the mail. I was constantly ordering, I mean, designer blankets and designer shoes and furniture and wallpaper and this and I mean, I was so excited. She was going to be a little fashionista, this one. And I everything was just a reminder. Everything that I looked at, everything, I couldn't stomach it. I wouldn't leave my bedroom. until my kids came home. And then I'd have to pretend like everything was okay. And then during the day, I'd go in my bed and I wouldn't leave my bedroom. So I had to leave. I didn't want to see anybody. And then, of course, after I was done bleeding, I needed to go to the mikveh while we were away.
Yep.
And that really pissed me off. That was a real knife in the stomach right there.
Why? I mean, I know I've never had a stillbirth, but I had many
Well,
losses. So I know why it was for me. Why was it for you?
it's so I was very upset because for starters, it's not my mikvah with my mikvah ladies that know me so well. Now I have to drive over an hour to some random men's mikvah. They don't
Oh
even have
God.
a women's
Oh God.
mikvah. Then I have to go before Shabbos and some random shomeret that doesn't even know what just happened to me. I'm this emotional wreck. Um, and the whole process of getting ready to go to the mikvah and wasting the hour ride going to the mikvah and that I was just so angry at God as it was, and this was just icing on the cake for me. And at that moment, my Judaism and everything that I loved about it was in the toilet. And I just, but I had to do it. I knew I had to do it. It's not one of those things where I could just put on the back burner. But at the same time, I'm like, why? Why are you doing this to me? Why? This timing is just so horrible. And it was miserable. I was I wasn't into it at all. And I felt bad for the show merit. Obviously, I just was so cold and I was so like angry just even showing up there. And she probably thought I was the most unfriendliest Boca person ever.
It's all right. Like, but at the end of the day, her job is not to be your friend.
No.
Her job was to guard you and watch you as you were dipping in the mikvah.
But you know
Period.
what? As my first mikvah visit post stillbirth, I would have loved to have been home with the Rebbitzins and the mikvah ladies that are in this community
Yeah.
because they're like family. And so I was very angry with that. I was like, why couldn't I bleed more? Like, why is this happening? Why do you keep doing this to me? Like, what test is this now? You know?
Yeah.
So I was really unhappy. And I was angry that night too, coming back from the mikvah. I was not in a good mood by any means to reunite with my husband.
I hear it.
Yeah.
I hear it. Um, talk, Talia, talk to us about like where you are now. It's now May. It
It's now
is, you know, what, 8 months, 9 months since Ora has been gone.
correct.
Um,
Um,
where is your mindset out at? How do you, how I know the answer to this question, so I'm obviously leading you there, but the this summer will be the year anniversary. Um,
I am dreading that day. Dreading. I am like trying to avoid. If I could sleep through that day, I would. But that's not possible. I really don't know how I'm gonna be that day.
and
I'm really dreading it. Um, but it's still hard. Some days are good, some days are bad. I still dabble a lot with grief. I think right after even just leaving the hospital, I was so fixated on trying to get pregnant again, and I've been unsuccessful. Um, I feel that the clock is ticking, at 37 years old. And I feel like a lot of my energy has been focused on that because I so desperately wanted to complete my family, and my family's not complete. And I'm realizing that that's not where my energy should be on. Um, and I'm focusing on the wrong things. But I just feel like time is of the essence right now, you know. I'm not getting any younger. Um, but I've done a lot of self-help, self-healing, really, you know, it's been a journey. And I've met a lot of wonderful women along the way. I think that they've been a huge support system. You know, you have these people that are, oh, if there's anything I could do for you, or oh, let me know if I could do so. It's like, no, you don't know what this is like. You have no idea. But then when you have another lost mom, it's different. When you have that friendship, it's a lot different and it's meaningful. And I've made some really good friends here in Boca, and I'm really grateful, and not even Boca, all over, because we're connected and we now share a particular pain that a lot of people have not have to endure. And it's been, you know, a lot of people that have been brought into my life definitely is for a reason. I feel sometimes maybe aura connected us. But the journey's been difficult. My journey with Hashem has been very difficult. Um, I think I put on this face, and you know, I keep a kosher home, I cover my hair, I dress modestly, I send my kids to a yeshiva. And after all this happened with Ora, I was really pissed off. And I said, you know, Hashem, why? Why me? I converted for you. Why? Why would you do that? Why? I chose this. I chose you. And this is the thanks that I get in return. And the one thing I wanted in life, a daughter to call mine. And you took her away from me in the most vicious way possible. There's no coming back from that. I mean, I told my husband, I came home on a Friday night from the hospital, and he's like, you need to light Shabbos candles. I'm like, no, burn them. I don't want to light Shabbos candles. Burn them. Burn every single Jewish book in this house. I want nothing to do with them. I just, you know, I'm like, I'm going to go eat. Now, I should be able to go eat a cheeseburger right now. That's what I should do. I mean, that's how, like,
Yeah.
whew, I was out there. I mean, my poor husband, the things that I have said, and he just sat there silent and never once fought with me, never once told me I was being ridiculous. He let me grieve, and he let me do and say and whatever it was that I needed to say. And I still have my moments. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, this is a journey, and I'll never understand why this has happened in this lifetime. But I, I've come around. I've definitely come around. I started picking up a prayer book again. Nothing's forced on me. Nothing is forced on me. And my husband knows I need my time. I don't go to shul. I'll only go to shul if there's a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah. People won't see me in shul. Uh, I don't daven every day. I need, I'll come back. I'll come back to
Yeah.
it. I just need my time. And you know, I did get pregnant after Aura. I actually had a D&C 2 months ago,
Oh
and
gosh.
I,
Oh
you
gosh.
know, prayed every single day for this pregnancy to be it. I mean, I would have been halfway through. It was a little over 2 months ago, and you know, the daily prayers of when you're pregnant, and I did all that stuff. And here again, I had a miscarriage, and it's just, you know, so I have my moments for sure. And you know, when everyone's giving out brachas and, you know, do this sugul or that sugul, I don't know what to believe anymore. Brachas are not really my thing at the moment.
Yep.
And segulas are not really my thing at the moment. Again, I'll come around. But when people, you know, when it's their Hebrew birthday and they call me to give me a bracha, or at a wedding, they want to give me a bracha, I'm just kind of like, if it makes you feel any better. But it's just, you know,
Yeah.
I'm just not there right now. I'm
I,
just
I
not.
I know you know this, but I want to say it to you and to everyone who is listening to this also. Everything that you're describing, every piece of it, in terms of the being angry at God and not being able to connect and not even wanting, not be, forget about able. I think able is even the wrong word, not even wanting to, because there's so much pain there. It is so, so normal.
Right.
When
The conversations
someone,
that I have had with God have not been great. But I need to let him know, you know what I'm saying? So it's, again, I've really come around a lot. But in those first couple of months, oof, it was bad. It was really, really bad. I mean, to the point where I'm like, I'm instilling this into my children, like for what? For what? Um, but that's
but
grief and
but
that's
but
trauma.
you but to be clear, right, it's not as if you were telling, like, you didn't pull your children out of yeshiva day school and put them into public
No,
school. You weren't telling them, here, go eat this bacon cheeseburger. Like,
no.
you were still doing all the things, but in your head it was the internal dialogue of like, oh my God, why am I still doing
I
this?
was
Like,
playing
yeah,
the part of a Jewish mom and wife,
yeah,
and I still do.
yeah,
Do I regret converting? No, never. Am I Jewish? Yes, I'm very much Jewish. I'm struggling with my relationship with God at the moment, and that's okay.
yes,
It doesn't have to be perfect.
yes,
Everyone has their journey. This is Judaism. Everyone has their journey. The most religious, the least religious. I mean, that's the beauty of Judaism, right?
yep,
Um, so I have my moments, and right now, my relationship with God is good. But it's a work in progress.
yep,
I have my moments from time to time, especially after I had my miscarriage. I finally got pregnant after stillbirth.
yep.
I mean, it was a miracle, right? And everything's going to be fine this time around. You're not going to do this to me twice. And then to have a miscarriage, I remember being numb in the car and just being, and my husband was in Vegas at the time. I was all by myself. I'm like, okay, this is just getting ridiculous. Like, Hashem, really throw me a bone here. Seriously.
Seriously.
Like, why do I have to keep proving myself to you? Like, when is something good going to happen to us? So yeah, again, I have my moments. But what grief has taught me is life is short, and you have to live every minute to its fullest, right? As cheesy as that sounds, everyone says it, but it's true. And I, throughout this process, have pushed my husband to move. I just felt that I needed to see more Jewish communities, more different lifestyles. I mean, Boca is all I know at this point. This is where I converted. This is where I
Yep.
became Jewish. This is where, we got married and had kids. And um, so please God, hopefully come July, right around the anniversary of her loss, we're hoping that we're going to move to Las Vegas and kind of start new energy, new mazel, and new beginnings. So we'll see.
And it should just be with good.
Please God.
It should just be with good. Um, Talia, one last question to kind of like wrap this all up and like bring you into, this week, right? This week is Mother's Day,
Correct.
and it's a very hard week, hard day for lots of people. How do you, how are you relating to, how are you handling Mother's Day?
I think that day is honestly in my head. I'm just like, Talia, it's going to be any other day. You're going to wake up. Your husband's going to make you cheesy breakfast. You're going to put on the smile. You're going to act like everything is all great. You're going to do an activity with your kids. Yeah, whatever. Um, my personality is you put on a brave face and you just keep going, right? Even right after I had just come home from the hospital, I mean, I just wiped up my tears and walked into my house and I was back to mom mode. So I think for me, just not not remembering that it's Mother's Day is going to be probably the best scenario, and acting like it's any other Sunday, and just trying to stay busy with my kids. Because if I start thinking about it, then I'm going to get upset. And I don't want to do that to the kids again. I'm just very, I don't know what it is, but again, I'm just very protective over my children. And I know they should see their mother sad sometimes and I should show them emotion, but I'm not. I'm a warrior. I'm a queen. I'm your protector. So I have a very hard time with that. I never want them to see me upset or hurt or, they think I'm strong and I am strong. So I gotta play the act on Sunday. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I know I need to grieve. I know I need to do something to honor her or whatever it is. But I think for me, just keeping busy with the boys is probably the best bet. And, there's nothing I could do to bring her back. At the end of the day, I have to continue to live life. And I know that's what she would want for me anyway. So it's going to be like any other Sunday. Just chaos all over the place. Um,
What we said earlier. We said there is no right way to do this.
no,
And
there
there
isn't.
and there is also no right way to do Mother's Day.
You know, looking back now, before stillbirth, I might have judged another woman who was dealing with her grief in a different way. Now, experiencing the trauma of stillbirth, I will never judge another person ever for dealing with something traumatic in their life, whether it be stillbirth or something else. I mean, people just deal with their emotions in their own way. And no one should ever judge anybody in how they have to live the rest of their life without their person or their loved one or their child or whatever it is. Um, but yeah, it's stillbirth, experiencing stillbirth has really just kind of, I mean, even when someone experienced a miscarriage, you would never know what to say. And now looking back, I'm like, wow, I've said some stupid stuff to people.
We all have. We all have.
I am just like, oh my God, how did I not get punched in the face? And now that I've experienced miscarriage and stillbirth, it's just, now I know what to say to people in sensitive times.
Right, right. Oh, Talia, I am so grateful to you for opening your heart and sharing the deep the deep pain and the love also that you have for your daughter and for all of your children. You know, I one of the things that I always like to do is really have people tell their stories because that is the way that each of us feel less alone when we know that there are other people who have been literally walking in our shoes.
Correct.
And so you have done exactly that tonight. You can see how many comments came in and see all of the people saying like thank you, thank you, thank you. So from me and from all of us, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for
For
sharing.
having me. Thank you for approaching me and to share my story. I'm sure you've noticed I'm kind of an open book. So I'm really, Aura was a person. She's forever going to be my person. She should be talked about. She was beautiful and she should be talked about. People should know about her. People should know my story. There's it's just, I birthed her. She
Yep.
was a real human that came out of my body, and she deserves to be talked about and spoken about. And I want people to refer to her by her name. And don't dismiss the fact that she's not here. She's a part of me. I walk around with a aura necklace on every day, and I get these weird looks and comments because they're like, wait, isn't she a mom of 4 boys? Who's Aura? And it's like, oh, it's my dead daughter. But I talk about her all the time. She's a part of me. She's who I am now. And I wanted to do something to kind of, in her honor, and I didn't know what that would be. And I have doula training, and I'm a lactation consultant. And with the horror of my labor story, I felt the need that I needed to help women in my shoes. with my doula training. So I want to start something eventually where I would give free doula services to women
Yeah.
delivering stillborns. So
Yeah.
I'm still in the works of that. I don't know, especially now that I'm moving and have to build a reputation and stuff in Las Vegas. So we'll see. But I do want to do something to honor her. Like I said, she's real, even though she's not with us. She's real. She's my little aura. So
Yes, she is. And whatever you do, whenever you do it, I know that she will be looking down and smiling because you are her mother.
yeah, and I
You are
just
her
want to
mother.
make her proud. I just want to make her proud.
And you will, and you already do.
Thank you.
Talia, thank you so, so much. So
Thank you for
much.
having me. This was wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Bye.